The notification came through while I was suturing a 7-year-old's forehead in the pediatric ER. My phone, tucked in my scrub's pocket, vibrated 3 times in rapid succession, the pattern that meant I'd been tagged in something public. I ignored it, focusing on the delicate work of giving this kid the smallest scar possible. But my stomach had already dropped in that way it does when you know something bad is coming. What I didn't know yet was that my sister had just publicly humiliated me in front of 847 people, including my entire extended family, my college friends, and every single person from my hometown of Riverside, Connecticut. What I definitely didn't know was that her cruelty was about to cost her fiancé something he desperately needed, something only my husband could provide, and something that would force my sister to finally understand what marrying down actually means. My name is Vanessa Mitchell. I'm 31 years old, and I've been married to my husband, Marcus, for 4 years. We met during my first year of medical school when he was already a resident in cardiothoracic surgery. I fell in love with him over late-night coffee in the hospital cafeteria, where he'd explain complex surgical procedures using sugar packets and napkins, his eyes lighting up the way other people's do when they talk about their passions. He proposed to me in that same cafeteria at 3 a.m. after a 19-hour shift, with a simple ring he'd saved 3 months to afford, and I said yes before he even finished asking. My sister, Brooke, is 28. She's beautiful in that effortless way that's always come naturally to her. Blonde, tall, perfectly proportioned, with a smile that could sell toothpaste. She works in pharmaceutical sales, drives a leased BMW, and has spent the last decade dating men based primarily on their job titles and zip codes. 6 months ago, she got engaged to Trevor Ashford, a 35-year-old dermatologist with a practice in Greenwich and a condo overlooking the harbor. Our parents were thrilled. Finally, they said, Brooke was settling down with someone appropriate, someone established, someone who belonged to the country club and had gone to Princeton. What they meant but never quite said out loud was, someone unlike Marcus. Marcus grew up in Detroit. His father was a mechanic, his mother cleaned houses. He put himself through college on scholarships and student loans, worked nights as an EMT to pay for medical school, and graduated at the top of his program through sheer, relentless determination. He's now one of the top cardiothoracic surgeons in the state, specializing in complex congenital heart defects in children, the kind of cases other surgeons won't touch. But to my family, he would always be the kid from Detroit who didn't summer in the Hamptons, didn't know the difference between a 6-iron and a 9-iron, and wore a suit from Men's Warehouse to our wedding because he didn't own anything else. The suture was finished. The little boy's mother thanked me 3 times, her eyes wet with relief. I peeled off my gloves, washed my hands, and finally checked my phone in the hallway outside the trauma bay. The Instagram post was worse than I'd imagined. It was a photo from Brooke's engagement party last month. One of those perfectly styled shots with her and Trevor in soft focus, champagne glasses raised, her ring catching the light like a small sun. The caption read, "Finally marrying up. Ring so grateful to have found someone successful, educated, and from a good family." Unlike some people who married down for love faced with tears of joy at Vanessa Mitchell #DrWife #LivingMyBestLife #KnowYourWorth. 847 likes. 143 comments. I scrolled through them, each one a small knife. My cousin Ashley. Yara's queen. You deserve the best. Crown. My mother. So proud of you, sweetheart. You've always had good judgment. My Aunt Linda. Some people settle. Some people win. Gemstone. And then the ones that mention me directly. Not everyone can marry a real doctor, lol. At least you know what you want, unlike certain people who fell for a sob story. Trevor is goals. Such an upgrade from, well, grimacing face. Marcus had been 3 hours into a complex surgery when this was posted. He'd come home 2 hours ago, exhausted, his surgical cap still leaving that dent in his dark hair. He'd kissed my forehead, asked about my shift, and collapsed on the couch with his eyes already half closed. I'd let him sleep. But now he was awake, standing in the doorway of our bedroom, still in his wrinkled scrubs, and he'd just seen my face. "What's wrong?" he asked immediately. I handed him my phone without a word. I watched his expression shift as he read. Confusion first, then recognition, then something harder and colder settling into his features. He scrolled through the comments. His jaw tightened. When he finally looked up, his voice was carefully controlled. "Want me to comment?" "No," I said. "Want me to call her?" "No." "Then what do you want me to do?" His voice was gentle, but I could see the anger underneath. Not at me, but for me. For years of this. For years of my family's subtle digs and not-so-subtle comparisons. For years of him taking it silently because he loved me. I looked at him, this brilliant, compassionate, extraordinary man who'd saved 47 children's lives last year alone, who came home crying sometimes because he couldn't save them all, who worked 80-hour weeks and still always remembered to text me good morning. "I want you to make one call," I said. His eyebrows rose. "To who?" "To Trevor Ashford's cardiac surgeon." Marcus went very still. "Vanessa, you told me 3 weeks ago. You told me about the case. The 35-year-old dermatologist with the undiagnosed bicuspid aortic valve and ascending aortic aneurysm. You said he was scheduled for surgery next month. You said you were the only surgeon in the region willing to take it because of the complexity." Understanding dawned in Marcus's eyes. "That's Brooks Trevor? That's Brooks Trevor." Marcus sat down slowly on the edge of our bed. "You want me to refuse the case. I want you to do whatever you think is right," I said carefully. "I would never ask you to compromise your ethics or put a patient at risk. But I also know that Dr. Harrison at Yale has done similar repairs. Trevor could go there. It would mean a 3-month wait instead of 1 month, and Harrison's success rate is lower, but it's an option." "Harrison's success rate is 15% lower," Marcus said quietly. "And 3 months is a long time to walk around with an aneurysm that could dissect." "I know. This is a man's life, Vanessa. I know that too." I sat down beside him. "I'm not asking you to let him die, Marcus. I'm asking you to consider whether you want to save the life of someone who thinks you're beneath him. Someone whose fiancé just publicly mocked our entire marriage. Someone who's going to sit in your oar and never even know that the lesser doctor from Detroit is the only reason he's going to live to see his wedding day." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone and made a call. "Dr. Harrison? It's Marcus Mitchell at St. Catherine's. I need to talk to you about a referral." The next morning, Trevor Ashford's surgical coordinator called him with the news. Dr. Mitchell had referred his case to Yale due to scheduling conflicts and specialized expertise requirements. His new surgery date would be in early January instead of late October. Brooke called me 6 hours later, hysterical. "They moved Trevor's surgery. They pushed it back 3 months. Do you know how dangerous that is? He could die, Vanessa." I was in the hospital cafeteria, the same one where Marcus had proposed. I took a sip of terrible coffee before responding. "That sounds scary. I'm sure the new surgeon is very qualified. It's not the same. Dr. Mitchell is supposed to be the best. Trevor's cardiologist specifically said he was the only one he'd trust with this. Dr. Mitchell must have his reasons. Well, someone needs to talk to him. This is Trevor's life we're talking about. Then maybe you should call Dr. Mitchell yourself," I suggested. There was a pause. "I don't have his number." "No," I said. "I don't imagine you would. Vanessa, you work with doctors. Can't you?" "Actually, Brooke, I'm really busy right now. Some of us have to work, you know? We can't all just marry rich and coast." I hung up. The next call came from my mother 2 hours later. "Vanessa Marie Mitchell, what did you do?" "Hi, Mom. I'm good, thanks for asking. How are you?" "Don't be smart with me. Brooke is beside herself. Trevor's surgery got moved, and she seems to think you have something to do with it." "Why would I have anything to do with Trevor's medical care?" "Because your husband is his surgeon." "Was his surgeon. Whatever happened?" "You'd have to ask Marcus. Doctor-patient confidentiality and all that. This is ridiculous. You need to fix this." I felt something snap inside me. "No, Mom. I really don't. What I need is for my family to stop treating my husband like he's some kind of charity case I settled for. What I need is for my sister to take down that vicious post and apologize. What I need is for you to defend me for once instead of Brooke. That post was just a joke, Vanessa. You're being too sensitive. 847 people didn't think it was a joke. 143 people commented agreeing with her. You commented, Mom. You told her you were proud of her for having good judgment, which implies I don't. Silence. I thought. I didn't mean. Yes, you did. You meant exactly what Brooke meant. That Marcus isn't good enough because he didn't grow up with money. That I married down. Well, let me tell you something about marrying down, Mom. The man you think I settled for? He's going to make more money this year than Trevor makes in 5. He's published research that's changed how we treat pediatric heart defects. He's been nominated for awards Trevor's never even heard of. and he was gracious enough to refer Trevor to another excellent surgeon instead of refusing to treat him altogether, which is what I wanted him to do. Vanessa, I'm not finished. That man you look down on. He came home last week and cried in our bathroom because a 6-month-old baby died on his table, and he couldn't save her. He works 80-hour weeks trying to give kids a chance at life. He pays off his student loans and still donates to the free clinic in Detroit where he used to volunteer. He remembers every single patient's name. And you know what the saddest part is? He's never once said a bad word about any of you, even though you've spent 4 years making him feel like he's not welcome at his own wife's family dinners. My mother's voice was small. I didn't realize. No, you didn't, because you never bothered to look past the zip code he grew up in. I hung up before she could respond. That evening, Marcus came home early, rare for him. He found me curled up on the couch, emotionally exhausted. Harrison called me, he said, sitting down beside me. Trevor's case. He reviewed the scans and agrees it's complicated, but he's confident. Trevor will be fine. Good, I said. And I meant it. I'm not a monster. I didn't want Trevor to die. He also said something interesting. He said Trevor's fiancée has been calling his office 6 times a day, demanding to know why I refused the case. She's been telling everyone I'm incompetent and refused to treat her fiancé out of spite. I closed my eyes. Of course she had. So I called Trevor directly, Marcus continued. Broke protocol a bit, but I figured we needed to clear the air. I sat up. What did you say? I told him the truth. That I saw a social media post his fiancée made about my wife, about my marriage, and that while I would never let personal feelings compromise patient care, I thought it was best for everyone if he had a surgeon he and his family could fully trust and respect. I recommended Harrison, explained the 3-month timeline, and offered to consult on the case if Harrison wanted a second opinion. What did he say? Marcus smiled, a small, tired smile. He asked to see the post. So I sent him a screenshot. My phone buzzed. Then again. Then continuously. The Instagram post was gone. In its place was a new one from Brooke. I want to sincerely apologize for my previous post. It was cruel, thoughtless, and completely out of line. My sister is married to an incredible man who I've disrespected and undervalued. I'm deeply sorry, Vanessa. And Dr. Mitchell, thank you for your professionalism and for recommending excellent care for Trevor despite having every reason not to. You're a better person than I deserve. The comments were already rolling in. Wait, what happened? Did you delete a post? What is this about? My mother had commented. Proud of you for owning this, Brooke. And Vanessa, honey, can we talk? I looked at Marcus. Did Trevor make her post this? Trevor's exact words were, if you ever disrespect the man who's probably saving my life again, the wedding is off. Apparently, Harrison explained exactly how dangerous his condition is and how few surgeons would touch it. Trevor's not stupid. He knows what you having Marcus refuse meant, and he knows what Marcus doing the referral anyway says about his character. I started crying then, not sad tears, but the exhausted, relieved kind that come after holding something heavy for too long. Marcus pulled me close. You know what's funny? Your sister thought she was marrying up. But Trevor's known me for 3 weeks, and he already respects me more than your family has in 4 years. That's not marrying up. That's just marrying someone with basic decency. I love you, I whispered. I know. You married down for me, remember? He was smiling, but I could hear the old hurt underneath. I married exactly right, I said firmly. And anyone who can't see that doesn't deserve a place in our lives. My phone buzzed again. Brooke, this time calling instead of texting. I looked at Marcus. He nodded. Hello, Vanessa. Her voice was thick, like she'd been crying. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't even know what I was thinking. Trevor he showed me what Dr. Mitchell did, how he could have just refused and let me destroy his reputation, but instead he made sure Trevor got good care anyway, and I've been awful. To you. To him. For years. Yes, I said simply. You have been. Can we talk? Please. I want to make this right. I looked at Marcus again. He squeezed my hand, not telling me what to do, just reminding me he was there. Maybe, I said to Brooke. But not today. Today, I'm going to have dinner with my husband, who just worked a 14-hour shift saving children's lives. And I'm going to remind myself that I have nothing to apologize for and nothing to prove. You think about whether you're ready to actually change, or if you just want to smooth things over. Then we'll talk. I hung up before she could respond. Marcus ordered Thai food, my favorite. We ate on the couch, his head in my lap while I played with his hair, and we didn't talk about my family or Trevor's surgery or any of it. We just existed together, in our small apartment with the leaky faucet and the mismatched furniture, in the life we'd built that had nothing to do with zip codes or country clubs or who married up or down. And for the first time in 4 years, I felt completely, perfectly at peace with every choice I'd made. Because at the end of the day, the only person's opinion that mattered was already home, exhausted, underpaid, and absolutely extraordinary. And he was mine.